Boo! What? Sorry. I'm gonna pull myself forward in my chair because I'm small. Hello! Hello, everybody. Hello. How goes it? What's the haps? Is there anything I should know about? Did anybody die or anything? What the heck? Sorry about that pre-start. I tried running multi-stream again, and lo and behold, it didn't work again. So, I don't know. Very funny how the whole problem is still not fixed. But hello, everybody. What's up? Today it's scheduling day. We're just gonna chill out. My schedule is pretty similar to last week. I'm skipping. I've decided that no Twitch and BikBok again. Yeah, maybe never. Who knows? I might have to pick up Restream. We'll see though. I wonder if I can get Restream working with Streamlabs. That would solve a lot of things. But let me get this up on the screen so you guys can see what we're working with this week. There we go. This. Turn that on, turn this off. Alright, so as you can see, some things are a little different. We finished Game Deck last week, so that's not on the menu anymore. Back to the Dawn, Rue Valley, TF2, those are all still on the menu. I didn't really like Whisker, what game did we play? Whiskerwood. I didn't really like Whiskerwood very much. I enjoyed the aesthetic. It seemed like it would be fun. Again, Against the Storm is just the best city builder that I've found so far that doesn't instantly make me want to, like, gnash my teeth against a wall. Oh, it looks like I'm angry for there we go. So I'm gonna revert back to Against the Storm for City Builder Saturday. A couple things on the menu that are also a little different. I'm skipping Red Dead Redemption 1 Zombies mode. I was just not having fun with it at all when I was playing it, so we're gonna skip straight to Red Dead 2. That series is gonna take us a while. So I will attempt to give Red Dead 2 a fair shake. I'm not gonna skip all the secondary objectives like I did in Red Dead 1. The thing with Red Dead 1, though, is that it gave me, it was interesting, right? Because I didn't really play any of the secondary missions. And a big part of that is because the main story was kind of boring. And I just wanted to get through the game as fast as possible. I hope that's not the case for Red Dead 2, you know? So, I'm told Red Dead 2 is just a superior video game. So, I just slapped it on the menu there. I'll pick it up off of G2A. We'll see how fun it is, you know. And then all we have to do tonight is find a game for tomorrow. Another thing you'll notice as well is that on Thursday I have set the stream to a 10 a.m. morning stream. That is because later on in the day I have to 1, go pick up food from the food bank, and 2, I am going to a political party meeting for the first time. I'm going to be riding along with somebody. There's a couple local communist groups here in Seattle that I want to investigate. So I called them up. I asked them a bunch of questions, 2 days worth of questions. I was asking them, and they were like, "Hey, come to a meeting." And I was like, "All right, sweet." So Thursday afternoon, I'm going to be attending a political meeting for the first time in my life. That's gonna be it's gonna be scary. I have to think about some questions I want to ask, and that's about it for me as far as I have a bunch of stuff I have to do this week, of course, because I'm finishing my move on Thursday as well. But that's all background radiation for the streaming and stuff like that. So you're gonna miss that stream, Cherry. I'm sorry to hear that. Don't worry though. It's Rue Valley. You know, you'll don't fret. There'll be more Rue Valley streams, I'm sure, of me getting in like psychosis and stuff like that. But that is pretty much the schedule for the week. I just have to find a new game I want to play tomorrow. I have no idea what it's gonna be. I have no bases loaded at all right now. The only game I'm looking forward to right now is Esoteric Ebb, and that comes out next January. So I currently have my pockets are currently empty right now. I don't know what I want to play. I'm gonna hit the Discord. It's been a while since I've actually checked the Discord. My bad for not checking. I've just been so busy and burnt out lately. Since 2025 is ending, eat the server owner. Okay, I agree with that. Have a mage. I recently sent in an application video to a VTubing company. I won't say which one. And that was kind of stressful to create and stuff like that, so... You're busy in the mornings for the rest of this year? Aw, Cherry, that's okay. You can hear the empty room behind me, Alaskan? Yeah, that's because, my apartment is now empty. Yeah, because I'm still streaming in my old apartment, so, and I've pretty much almost cleared it out completely now. I think tonight, I think I might move my computer downstairs, maybe not, I might save it for tomorrow. I have to remember, because I'm cooking a brisket. I think I'm cooking either a brisket tomorrow, or what's it called? On, Wednesday? Tuesday. No, Wednesday. Yeah, I'm cooking a brisket either Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm probably not gonna move my computer down there tonight, actually. Maybe tomorrow I'll move my computer down there. Lots of stuff is happening. Hello. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. It's not okay, but whatever you say. Been a while since the last Roblox stream. That is true, Cherry. We could do a Roblox stream. Just watched the Green Bay Packers versus the Chicago Bears game, and now you're a Packers fan, Deku. That's very funny. You're not a Baltimore fan anymore? Let's see. Graham sent a Cave Johnson Lemons video. That sounds like a good one. Typography video. That's funny. Okay, gotcha. Not too much happening in the server. Not a problem, not a problem. But let me see, what do I actually want to play tomorrow? That's a big question for me, because I'm kind of stoopy with it. I am going to hit my recommendations on my Steam account and see if there's any, like, I'm gonna hit my discovery queue and see if there's anything pops up that, like, jumps out at me. You were a Patriots fan, then a Buccaneers fan due to Tom Brady, but once he retired, you're now a Packers fan? That's funny. Is, what's his name still, quarterback for the Packers? Aaron Rodgers? Is he still quarterback for the Packers? Battlefield Red Sec? No, not gonna play a Battlefield game. Another Warhammer DLC, I'm not sure why that's in my queue. Cloudheim. 1 to 4 player action adventure that blends crafting with chaotic physics-based combat. The chaotic physics-based combat does sound funny. Oh, is this? This is The Legend of Zelda, but it's a Steam game. Okay, I see. Yeah. That's cool. I don't plan on playing that anytime soon. Rodgers is well, they traded Rodgers to the Steelers. Okay, he's in Pittsburgh now. Damn, they got him moving around a lot. Green Bay's in Minnesota, or is it in Wisconsin? I don't know. Mine Mogul? Oh god, nope. Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord War Sales. They added boats to Bannerlord, which is cool. I'll put that on my wish list, but I don't plan on playing Bannerlord anytime soon. Jackbox Party Pack. Nope, I don't have any friends. Persona 5. The free-to-play Persona game has mixed reviews. Do people not like Persona 5? What's going on with Persona 5? Why is it free to play? Do they just keep adding stories? Is Persona 5 like a MiHoYo game now where they just keep dumping shit into it? Because I don't know if I can play that. A Hoyoverse game? Because I'm not sure, because I don't know, the non-stop never-ending story thing is just like, kind of like, at this point, you know, after having stopped playing, Hoyoverse games myself, it is a little like, the way that it's just like a non-stop story edition is kind of annoying in and of itself. I kind of like doing the thing where I read a book and then the story stops. I like a complete story nowadays, you know? The never-ending story that they do is kind of like, ugh. Excited for Christmas, Alaskan? Me too, bud. Me too. Wisconsin, where the cheese is. That's where they put all the cheese. That is true. Let me see. World of Sea Battle looks pretty cool. action-packed open-world MMO in the golden age of sail. Command historic ships. It looks fine enough on its own, but I don't think so. That's not for me. Light up the town. Casual holiday game for all ages. Play as Bean, a precocious young ferret, and explore the town of Bellflower, Colorado, as you hang up festive string lights around and spread holiday cheer. Click to throw a light or decoration. The only limit is your imagination. I like this game. I don't plan on playing this anytime soon, but I'll put that on my wish list for sure. Very cute. Mimesis is 4-player co-op survival horror. When the cursed rain falls, Mimesis appear. This is one of those friend slop games. Looks fun. Again, no thank you. Call of Duty Black Ops 7. No thanks. Mostly negative is still very funny. Blueprints I don't plan on playing anytime soon. Is there anything in my backlog that I need to play? We could play Divinity. We could play Pathfinder. We could start another, not Path of Exile, but what's the game called? Pillars of Eternity run. I could finish a Dragon Age Inquisition run, and that would allow me to finally justify getting the next Dragon Age game and playing that. Far Cry Primal, I could go monkey mode. How's my day going, Cherry? It's not too bad. I've been feeling really weird about some of my coworkers lately. It's been a little tough thinking about it. It's just sometimes there's like a situation arises where you're treating somebody one way, because you've been doing that, and then they will do something. They will like say a joke, or put you in a situation that you think is a joke, and then you'll play it off, and then they'll make that joke again. And then you'll be like, oh, they were not joking. And then you sort of have to like rewire your brain to like treat that person differently. I'm kind of currently going through that process right now. Not that I dislike them, but I sort of have to be like a different person, or be like a slightly different person around them now. It's slight and it's off-putting in a way that somebody would definitely notice, but not so much in the way that I would like disrespect this person. But it's definitely it's become clear that, like, I don't know, people reveal themselves to you over time, and this person has definitely revealed themselves to me a little more, and that means that I have to change myself in turn. You've saved up $11,000, Alaskan. Wow, nice. Congratulations, man. That's a big achievement. Nice. I don't have any savings because they pay me minimum wage. But that's a pretty good amount, man. What are you gonna do with it? Are you gonna invest it, or are you gonna keep it as like a savings? But let me see. I'm gonna scroll through my catalog here of games and see if I can't find anything that jumps out at me. We might just... I'm not really in the mood for Roblox. Roblox is like a midweek game. I don't feel like moving anything around right now. Hello, Alex. What's up? So I guess, Cherry, to answer your question, my day is going good. But it's a little lower than the hedonic treadmill of it's fine, you know? I would definitely say that my day has been okay. Customers are as annoying as they have always been, but that's through no fault of their own. That's just the position that they're in. Let's see. I should uninstall Starfield. I was gonna make a Starfield video because it has mod support, but I would have to look at some of the Starfield mods to see if anybody's actually made anything for it. You're going to Hawaii and Las Vegas, hopefully get flights for $200. 1 week in Hawaii and a week in Vegas, Alaskan. Congratulations, man. I've never been to Vegas. Make sure you hold on to your wallet. Them casinos, I hear, are a little tough. But I have been to Hawaii. Enjoy it. Make sure you go surfing, at least once, you know? We could keep going with a Tyranny run. We could go back to Valkyria Chronicles. I don't like the politics of Valkyria Chronicles, so that's why I'm like not playing it anymore. Wasteland 3 was like annoying to play. see. There's a million games here, but I can't decide. Let's do Solasta. They came out with a second Solasta, I think. Or they're coming out with one. There's a ton of different, like, subcategories in Solasta. Solasta? Is that... I don't know how to say it. So... Crown of the Magister. They're coming out with a second one soon. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's TBA right now. So, and there's no the planned release date is not out yet. So, I'm not sure if the second one's gonna be any good. The gameplay footage looks pretty much the same, but we can run the first Solasta, and then maybe even later on down the line we can make our own little campaign. So let's try it. The game does feel... I've played Solasta a couple of times, and the game feels very like, oh yeah, this is more like a base structure, like a Gmod type situation than it is like a, here, play this. Because I'm told the later DLC campaigns have better writing. I played some of the first early campaigns, and they aren't very good. Just saying. It seems like a lot of the people that are like making video games, like these types of D&D style games, don't so much care for writing so much as they do for like the combat and the gameplay, which makes sense coming from like a designer perspective of like, well, let's just make a base and then the writers can come to it. But that means you have like a pretty poor product in the end, relying on everybody else's labor. It is said like this seat is taken. Play this seat is taken. Oh, sorry, Alex. Let me look. Is it on Steam? This seat... Is this seat taken? This seat is taken. You're not talking about is this seat taken, are you? Are you talking about... Are you talking about like a Roblox game? Teapot Temple sure is rough. I don't know what that is. I'm stupid. Is Theo undecisive as always? As always. As always. The political party I'm looking at right now has like a Trotskyist lean to it, so I mean it's fitting for somebody as indecisive as me to follow in line with Trotsky, so. BBNo might retire, which is crazy because he's my top artist from Spotify. Really, Deku? I like BBNo's sound. The problem with BBNo is that his lyrics kind of make me want to like do some trepanation, you know? I think his poppy style of like hitting a beat and then like having like a countenance to it and then like continuing the beat and then like going back and forth between the two as if it were like an exchange is very cool. I think it's like a wonderful type of sound. The problem is that his lyrics don't fucking inspire a single thing out of me. It's so placid and fake that I feel like it's awful. But his tunes are catchy. I'll give you that much. Ew, you've been summoned. Hello, Blue Bear. Someone done summoning? Alright, let's do some thumbnails, I think. We're doing... Well, I don't know. Do I want to play Solasta? Or do I want to play like a roguelike? I recently added... I saw... Is this seat taken? Because you recommended me... Alex recommended me this seat is taken. And it popped up on Steam like, is this seat taken? And that looked like a fun game. Is there anything new? Hang on. Yeah, I'm being indecisive again. Let me see some top sellers right now. Claire Obscura. I don't think my computer can run that. Rust is still up there. New and trending. Let's go to new releases. Let's see. Bup bup. Bow ba 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 da ba. crank up those tunes, man. Girardi or Femboy Medic? Girardi Medic sounds hilarious. Hang on. Girardi Medic sounds so funny. What do you mean by that? What is... I know what Femboy Medic entails, but what exactly does Girardi Medic entail? Just exploring an obscure game in Roadblocks known as Gears as early. Oh, as Gears earlier, all I can say. Gotcha. Do Warfare. Dispatch is still full price, huh? I'm not sure if I want to play Dispatch. Every review I hear about it is that it's like super Reddit. But we'll play Solasta. What is the theme this week? The theme this week, I guess, would be... Oh, do you mean do Warfare as a theme? Let's look at the games. Is it gonna be TF2 again? It's always TF2, isn't it? How about... Let me think. What is the first thing I think at a weekend? Most weekends I have to work. Unless you're talking about my personal weekend that my schedule is scheduled around, then I don't know, sleep, dishes. Oh yeah, I've been trying to buy a wizard outfit. I've been Googling like oversized wizard hat and wooden stick that's over 70 inches, you know, and like oversized wizard robes and stuff like that. I just feel like walking around Seattle with a wizard outfit on. Watch both the FNAF movies? All 3 of them? There's 3 FNAF movies? Damn. How about fruit? Let's go fruit. Give me fruits. Fruits A to Z. There's a website called Fruits A to Z. And it's a big PDF website of a bunch of fruits. Kind of wonderful in its own regard. Is there like a fruit randomizer? Whose website is this? There's only 5 pages of fruits. Surely there's more fruits than 5 pages. Do-do-do. Do-do. Do-do-do. A fruit platter. Oh. The beardless wizard? I am a beardless wizard, that is correct. Dude, the fact that I have a friend that won't shut up about the same ideas but swap Seattle for Japan? Really, Jack? That's hilarious. Walking around Seattle in a wizard outfit but for Japan is kind of insane to me. Let me get some fruit up. So obviously I'm gonna start with banana. Clearly. Well, what games are we starting with? Solasta? That's kind of banana pushing. It's not. That's definitely more of a raspberry. Raspberry. So raspberry is gonna be our first fruit. Our next fruit, let me see. Red Dead Redemption 2? Red Dead Redemption 2. What kind of fruit is Red Dead Redemption 2? Probably like a durian, right? I'm gonna go with durian for Red Dead 2. That makes sense. It's kind of stinky. Back to the Dawn is obviously going to be a, They have fruit in Back to the Dawn, right? An apple. Specifically like a red delicious apple. Like the worst apple you can, like, imagine. What a beautiful color, though. Rue Valley is going to be, what's a depressing... Pomegranate? You think Red Dead 2 should be pomegranate instead of a durian? Okay. Pomegranate. I don't see the argument, but maybe you're right. Ham? You think ham is a good one, random? Okay. Maybe we'll throw a ham in there. For Rue Valley can be a ham. Rue Valley, it makes sense that Rue Valley is a ham. I get that one. Gotcha. Team Fortress 2. Alright. Now, Team Fortress 2 has to be a coconut. We're gonna go coconut for TF2. Against the storm should be what fruit? If I'm thinking of like a rainy day fruit. A fruit on a rainy day. It's raining outside and I want a fruit. What fruit is that? Ever heard of scallops? I have not eaten a scallop in many of years. When you cut into a pomegranate, its juices squirt out like blood, just like the gore in Red Dead 2. Gotcha, Deku. Gotcha. Don't all cats do that? True. Sunday should just straight up be a piece of paper? That's not a fruit! That's not a fruit, man. I need a fruit for Against the Storm. A fruit for Against the Storm. If I'm playing Against the Storm and I'm like, I want a fruit. Not a kiwi. But sort of maybe like the similar, a grapefruit? Ah, that's too bitter. That would be, I mean, a grapefruit for scheduling for sure. I get that one. Grapefruit for scheduling instead of a piece of paper like a sicko. Now I need one more fruit. If only Sunday, like when we talk and plan, that's not a fruit though. What fruit stays in the sun all day? Interesting. Oranges, due to how juicy they are? You think, you guys have selected some bitter fucking fruits today, damn. Let me type in funny fruit. Is there a funny fruit? You guys know any funny fruits? I'm gonna go dragon fruit. Such a very mild fruit. All right, we got our fruits. Now let me pick an image for raspberries. I'm gonna pick this one because it's pretty simple. That's a good one. Raspberry. All right, I need a pomegranate. I would prefer an open palm. An open pomegranate. The exhibition when I went to the Seattle Art Museum, one of the exhibitions was one of the rotating exhibitions was Farm to Table. It's about like the French Revolution and its relationship to food. Like the original French Commune and stuff like that. And one of the bigger artwork pieces that was made back then, one of the artworks that I took a picture of that I found really, just like a really good piece of art, was a table full of rotting pomegranates on top of the French flag. And what it was supposed to represent was that it was supposed to represent France's colonialism over the Middle East and the Levant region, because that's where they grow the pomegranates. It was supposed to be an impressionist piece about imperialism and its rotting empire. It was a really good piece. I thought it was a quite powerful one. Raisins would be good. That would just end with cherries, because Against the Storm is a sweet treat. Aww, that's true. That is true. It is a sweet treat. Finding a picture of a pomegranate by itself that is split open that doesn't look like it's a piece of shit is actually kind of tough for me. Here's one. We're gonna go with this guy. Not the best, but it is transparent, I think, so. A red delicious apple is going to be easy because it is like God. You guys ever eat a red delicious apple? It's fantastic. Oh, and a ham. Of course, we are going to take the Wikipedia picture of a ham. We need a coconut. We're not going to use the TF2 coconut, but we will use a coconut. Split coconut. Give me a split dragon fruit that doesn't look like shit, please. That's a big-ass dragon fruit that guy's got. Man, okay, none of these dragon fruit pictures are inspiring. A pear is a weird fruit? Agreed, Blue Bear. Pears are underutilized. I would agree with underutilized. Pears, definitely an underutilized fruit. I would consider pear a weird fruit, yeah. Teto pear? I hadn't considered that teto pear was also a fruit. I'm gonna go with this picture of a dragon fruit, even though it's not split in half. And now I need a grapefruit. I need a grapefruit gummy. This one. Perfection. Alright, I've got my images, I've got my Imgurs, I got my Photoshop ready. Now I need to make a funny face. Alright, what kind of funny face do I feel like making tonight? No, let me think. Surely there's a funny face in here. Should I use some items? Let's see. Let's see if there's any items that are, like, ready for me to use that I really enjoy looking at. Peppers. Oh, we're jolly! We're jolly, brother! We're fucking jolly! Holy, dude, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Give me some more items. I gotta be festive. No Christmas tree. Ornaments. I need ornament balls. Balls? I'm festive! I'm fucking festive, brother. I'm festive. I'm festive with it. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. Something like that? That's a good one. Let's do that. Screenshot me. Sweet. Save me. Save me. Alright, I got... It's... For some reason, it saves to my OneDrive and my pictures. I'm leaving all of this, by the way. Merry Christmas. About time? For real. Are figs a fruit? Figs are a fruit. The wasp crawls up the fig's asshole and lays its eggs in there. That's fruity enough for me. This was stored in my pictures for some reason. Where the fuck is it? Screenshot me? Picture me, go to my Theodore thing, and then paste me. Alright. Ooh, here I am! I'm poke champing! I'm poker champing! In my... It's the Christmas spirit, after all. What the hell was I doing? Fruit gummy. Fruit gummy! It's just a random girl's face printed onto a pear. No, it's not a random girl's face. That's really insulting, man. It's Tedo. What are you talking about? Do I have a food? I do have a food. Food, give me a new folder, call that Fruit Gummy. An AVIF file? What the fuck? Come on now. Only Krita can open an AVIF file. You don't even know who Tedo is? What the heck? How did you get here? Open rostered image is a very funny file format. But I'm looking for a pingus. Alright, export the pomace. Alright, give me the red doylicious, a WebP. Every file has to be different. Every website should use a different file type, and they should all be proprietary. And only Photoshop should know how to open them. Because if not, then what the fuck is the point? Alright, red delicious done. Give me the ham. Ham is not a fruit, but the ham is gonna go in the fruit folder. Cocoa nut. Dragon fruit. Dragon fruit. And then, grape fruit. Alright, I'm gonna take a quick break. I just want to get all that downloaded. I am going to take a shit again. I'm sorry, everybody. Last night I took a big. I fell in the toilet and died. I'm gonna be right back. I'll promise I'll be a little faster. My bad. BRB. Okay. Ooh, sorry, almost fell back in my chair. All right, what's up? Do 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 do. Roblox for the PS5. Dang, 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 dang. What game should you play first in Roblox PS5? Fuck, man. I don't know. I got like a million games. Did I already save the raspberries? I did. Do 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 do. So how's everybody's night going? Everybody tucked in, nice and cozy? You lick any? Did you lick any crumbs off your boss's chest yet? Raspberry first. Sweet. The contents of your machine. Go any better today? What, falling into the toilet? I actually didn't poop, sorry. I thought I had to poop, I didn't. I haven't been taking fiber. I usually take fiber in my diet. I like take a fiber supplement because that helps me take a shit because all I do is eat like fried food all day. And lately I haven't because I've been moving and my mind has been so unoccupied with such a concept that it's been It's been tough to actually think about anything like that. Oh, we never selected a background either, did we? What do we select for the background? What the hell's the background to this? Let me go look for one. Geometric background. I do enjoy the geometric pattern shapes. Ooh! Ah! You're cooked. You were all good this morning, but now you're starting to get dizzy as hell. Damn, Blue Bear. Usually my recommendation when anything feels wrong is to eat like a burger. But that only fixes it sometimes. Working on a thumbnail for your new video, Alaskan. Me too, man. I'm also working on thumbnails. Thumbnail moment. Thumbnail gaming. I don't want anything too busy, but I don't want anything too pale either. I can't really decide. I don't want something too light. Let me see what this looks like. We're gonna grab this guy and see if this guy has any, where's backgrounds? Save this one, WebP me. Let's see what this guy looks like on screen. How's that? It's a little bright, I think. Let me try stroking this with like a dark outline, see if that helps at all. Maybe if I make the stroke like a little thicker, something like that, would that be okay? Maybe? Oh, is that for the berry? It is. That was weird. I think that's okay. That's not too bad. I usually hit the bright colors on my thumbnails, but I suppose we can try it every once in a while. You use the Adobe website. Oh, right, because the Adobe website's free to use. That's a good one. Photoshop is free on mobile, but not PC, or at least not on your PC. Thoughts? Any thoughties? Alright. We'll hit the regular on this one. This is so last. Hit the left side. This is a pretty casual thumbnail, I'd say. Nothing too exciting. Very Christmassy, I would say. Sort of. Maybe. Well, I'm Christmassy. The thumbnail might not be as such, but... Alright, let's see. Let me save this. Here, videos, thumbnails, edits, December, and this is 12.08.25. Sweet. 1D full. 1D full. It looks really jolly. The stroke might be odd on the berry. It looks weird without it though. What if I make it like green? What if I make it jolly green? No. Merry Christmas green. No. Yeah, I'm not sure. We can move on? Alright, let's move on. Got embarrassed, huh? Said something out loud and now you're embarrassed? Couldn't be me. Skibidi Toilet. My fucking favorite song of all time. Skibidi Toilet. I'm Toy Freddy, and you better be ready because when we come down... Oh, that's a song. Toy Freddy Gaming. I know you did not just say that in front of my face. What is after raspberry? Sorry. Yeah. Pomegranates. I have been non-stop saying 6-7 at work lately. It has been driving me up the fucking wall. I'm actually getting like cancer from how much I've just been saying 6-7 at work when I'm not doing anything. It's fucking I'm like the most annoying coworker, you know. Wow, whoa, whoa. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. This is gonna be what? This is going to be Red Dead 2. Red Dead Redemption 2. Give me a stroke. Stroke me off. Yeah, it's so dirty, dude. Oh. Inside's no better. Center's even worse. God. Okay, well, that's image files for you, man. That's image files for you. Have a holly jolly Christmas. And in case you didn't hear, something something, the something something, the something something some mods, hit him with the jolly gun. Mods, jolly as balls. Bum 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 bum. Alright, 12 me, 09 me, 25 me. Oh, it actually, now that I'm looking at the thumbnails from the folder, it does look very, very festive. Alright, back to the dawn is going to be... what? Palms, nope, red delicious apple. Just shoot me in the head now, man. May you be honest. Send you to the stratosphere if you heard 6-7 all day long near you. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to lean back on my annoying attributes at work. It's just work gets so boring that my mind just fucking clicks on to the nearest fucking meme that is like available. It's really bad. I don't know. Anyway, this meeting that I'm going to with this this revolutionary cadre that I'm thinking about joining. They usually have like specific types of topics that they talk about when they do have these meetings. And there's usually like required reading that goes into it, so I had not realized I signed up for an academic contribution, but I'm gonna have to do a couple of different readings for it, which is exciting. It's scary in and of itself because it's like, oh, this is like an intentional thing that like you have to be read for, you know? Back to the Dawn is the game. Misspelling. But then the other thing is just like, oh, it's really exciting to find such passionate people who care about stuff like this, you know? Because I rarely meet somebody who actually gives a shit enough to like read the reference books and stuff like that, or even go out and do anything about like the weight of the world and stuff. It is actually very few and far between people who actually care enough to do anything, at least nowadays. Because it's easy enough to not do anything. But I think I've been doing that a little too long in my life thus far, even though I'm only like 27. I shouldn't be in such a rush to get shot by a cop, you know? But I feel pressured to. I feel pressured to, if only by my own psyche, that I feel pressured to do something about this fucking mess. They do something not very nice. Grab the main character's face and lower the opacity, then put it over top of the pomegranate. Tedo Pear! Theodore Andromeda Apple! Theodore Andromeda Red Delicious Apple! You can understand the 6-7, but that dumb toilet meme, none of this is creative, none of this is funny. If you find that funny, you got holes in your brain that looks like Swiss cheese. Very true, Blueberry, very true. What you say is true. Some of you guys say some fucking true stuff sometimes. We're Rue Valley posting. Rue Valley. They should have called it Rue Valley, you know what I'm saying? Instead of Rue Valley. You know, something a little more tasty than Rue Valley. Like, come on, man. It's right there. Food me, fruit me. Red Delicious is done. It's time for a ham. Time for a Christmas ham. That's not right at all, man. That's not a fruit. We get silly on stream sometimes. Might suffer from a common condition, silliness. Damn, it's fucking terminal, man. It's fucking terminal. I've told people a million times over. There's no more of an oppressed identity here in this world and in this time frame than a silly guy. The most oppressed class. The silly dude. Holy fuck. Look at that line. That's a good line. Alright, stroke me. Stroke me in particular. You should do a serious reading stream and discuss my thoughts on the material. Oh god. I can't imagine trying to crack open fucking... We did read, The Jungle on stream. That was a pretty enjoyable one. But that is certainly not, that's certainly not the academic rigor of just straight up reading, like, revolutionary, like, tactics. And by academic rigor, I mean, like, dry theoretics. I'm not sure if dry theoretics would be good for this stream. 12 me, 11 me, no. 11 me, 25 me. You sure have interest in politics from what I know? I do. I can't put it away as easy as other people seem to. Because it's the thing that affects all life. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there's no non-politic. But from what people reference as quote-unquote politic, then yeah, I'm interested in it. Mostly, but that it has less to do with like my devotion towards like a revolutionary project and more to do with the fact that I'm just a fucking nerd. You know, politics is like sports for dorks. That's a ham. I need a cocoa nut. Cocoa nut me. I'm cocoa nutting. I'm nutting my cocoa. You guys ever nut your cocoa before? I thought not. You guys aren't at like the 6th. You know, I'm kind of like a 6th level wizard cocoa nutter. You know, I mean, some of you guys wouldn't get that one because you're only like a fucking 2nd layer cocoa nutter. You a lot of you guys could never nut in a cocoa. You know what I'm saying? I'm super impressed that there's a cocoa nut in my periphery. Give me the backdrop. Thank you. This is Team Fortress 2. You're pressured into pulling a Fight Club movie ending. I don't know how that movie ends. Can you guys spoil it for me? Does the movie end when, like, you think, like, it reveals to the audience that, what's his name is inside the other guy's head or whatever? Is that the big reveal? Like, oh, it was you all along. You're gonna go make a video, Bluebear. Gotcha. Good luck, man. Good luck. That's tough stuff. Always tough stuff. Oops, didn't mean to do that one. Didn't do the coconut. Brew Valley probably stays nearby. I figured as much. Except they replaced the water with alcohol. That's a good one. Brew Valley. Gruel Valley, where they're serving up slop. Drool Valley, where they're spitting on it. They're Hawk2 is spitting on that thing. Where the fuck am I going? I'm going to thumbnails. There we go. Okay. That's 12/12/25. Merry Christmas. Shaggy was Springtrap in the movie? Really? The guy who played as Shaggy played as Springtrap? Is that why he was on Twitter? Having beef with fucking Quentin Tarantino or some shit? Skid up. Schwan. What up, mama? What up, papa? Schwana. Schwaddling, boing. Schwelling. Noing, 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 noing. Dragon fruit me. Sweet. Oh my goodness, it's a fake transparent. Ah, no, my water fell over. It was empty. Oh God, they should kill the guy that invented water, man. That shit is so tasty when the vibe is drying out your goddamn brain. Alright, that's the draggy fruity. I need my doodly dooey. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. Bite into a dragon fruit with your best friend. Have everybody bite into the dragon fruit with your best friend. Kill your friend over a dragon fruit. I had a dragon fruit for the first time here in Seattle since I moved here. It's okay. It's a very mid fruit. It looks a lot better than it actually is. It has a very mild flavor to it, but the seeds are also very annoying. Okie doke, that one's good as well. Do I really enjoy sparkling? I'm sparkly. If you're talking about me as a model, then yes. If you're talking about sparkling drinks, then no. I don't know why they would make, like, sparkling water. You're taking the good part of soda out of the soda, which is the syrup. The bad part of sodas has always been the sparkling part. Carbonated drinks suck, and I'll die on that throne. Carbonation is evil! Unless you're pairing it with a really, really fatty, like, takeout order. Then I'm like, yeah, we need soda. You despise sparkling water? I don't get it! I don't get it at all! I must be Frank. I'm Emperor Palpatine or whatever it is. And now we're scheduling. I'm scheduling. Scheduling. All they drink, that's all they drink. Everybody comes into Whole Foods and buys a damn case of LaCroix. And I'm like, come on now. Surely you can't just buy the probiotic, like, soda that, like, sucks ass, like, too? Alright, grapefruit me. Oh, a true PNG. We love to see it. Alright. There we go. Okay. Whoa, yeah. Stroke my fruit off, jerk my fruity fruit, and stroke me off. Stroganoff. Tasty. Hello, Seal. Welcome back. Do I like seals? I do. Oh, I'm sparkling. Microplastics not enough? True. Truer, dude. Truer. Alright, I have to remember to upload the schedule tonight after I'm done streaming. Now, with this is gonna be the last thumbnail we make tonight. What the hell should we do after this? I don't even know. 12, 14, 25. There we go. Alright, thumbnail's finished. Let me get this back up on the screen. I'll minimize this, and I'll go through my Steam library to find out. Excuse me. In the rollout screen? That is true, Graham. We could watch a video in the rollout screen. You're right. I did see you post something there. Alright, let me get this open. Shh. It's 46 seconds? You hate me, man. You hate me. But we'll watch videos. BRB, we are finished with the photoshopping tonight. That was the schedule. Pretty much similar to the last one, but there's some choice differences. There's gonna be a morning stream on Thursday. So if you're open for Thursday morning streams, then that's gonna be what it is. Play SEAL games or participate in SEAL activities. SEAL Team 6. Where is my Chrome selector? Thank you. Mystical Elysium if Harry locked the fuck in. Rude. Alright. That's up on the screeny, full size me, but also Alt Tab me so I can mute this. Alright, let's take a look.
Alright, I've been thinking. When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Make life take the lemons back.
Oh, this is a classic.
Get mad. I don't want your damn lemons? What am I supposed to do with these? Demand to see Life's manager. Make Life rue the day it thought it could give Cave Johnson lemons. Do you know who I am? I'm the man who's gonna burn your house down with the lemons. I'm gonna get my engineers to invent a combustible lemon that burns your house down.
You're fucking coughing, dude. What the fuck, dude? Wasn't that guy supposed to be looking for, like, Spider-Man, pictures of Spider-Man or some shit? Beating Minecraft, but I can't break the laws of Judaism? That's a good one. Funniest bit of British comedy sounds so bad, it makes me want to die. Frank Durbin and Naked Gun. We should just watch Naked Gun. Well, what the fuck do we do now? That's the only YouTube video I wanted to watch. All right, let me get the music back on. Check out these ducks. Four ceilings and lemons. In case there wasn't enough lemon. Is that a YouTube poop, Graham? Fuck, dude. Maybe not tonight. I'm not sure if I'm in the mood for some pooping. That's a good one though. This is Theodore's feed. That was my feed. That was Theodore's feed. Tokari Center in Japan. Is that the one with the seals? Dude. You guys want to watch the new Dan Olsen video? I'm not sure if you guys have seen the new Dan Olsen video, but the new Folding Ideas video. It took me a while to watch it because I forgot I was subscribed to Dan Olsen, to Mr. Folding. We'll watch it again. Well, I'll watch it again because Mr. Dan is good. It was uploaded 3 months ago, so I'm sure you guys have definitely seen it at this point. I'm gonna watch it anyway again because I like watching Dan Olsen. Folding Ideas is top tier. Yeah. It's the Call of Duty Ghosts video. I don't have any snacks in my apartment. In my old apartment, I moved it all downstairs, so I can't snack on anything. Punch him right in the mouth. Dan Olsen's videos are timeless anyway, so. Damn, dude. Getting murdered over here.
Call of Duty Ghosts might be the worst game I've ever played. Now, that requires a lot of qualification and humming and hawing and generally being annoying, but such is the cost of these things. Ghosts occupies an odd place within the megalithic franchise that is Call of Duty. At
Call
this
of
point,
Duty.
it sits roughly in the
Call of
middle, being
Duty.
the 10th main title in a series with 21 full banner annual releases. It begs us to ask, what is a Call of Duty? Well, back in the late 18th century, modern nation-states as we know them began to coalesce within a new ideology called nationalism, which will differentiate with a small n to distinguish it from the nationalist political movements that would arise in the 20th century. Within small n nationalism, people began to view themselves as
viewer
part
at
of a
home.
new
True.
national identity that encompassed or even superseded their local ethnic identities. This would lead to a bunch of stuff.
Dang.
As the story goes, when US soldiers started killing and dying during the Great War, it became necessary to start giving medals for doing a particularly admirable job of killing or dying. Additionally,
Killing or
it was thought
dying?
that the US Medal of Honor had been handed out too frivolously during the Civil War, and the medal risked being trivialized as over 3,000 had been awarded. Okay, this is just... It turns out this was a huge boondoggle, actually a double boondoggle. Look, I had to play Call of Duty Ghosts like a dozen times to make this. Y'all are gonna sit there and listen to my goddamn
shit.
research.
Did he
President
really?
Woodrow Wilson
Because I
ordered
played
the
Call of
War
Duty
Department
Ghosts
to
and
do
I
a
also
review
thought it
of
was
the
rubbish,
system,
but
and the
playing it like a
committee in
dozen
turn
times
revoked
is like evil.
911 Legacy Medals of Honor. Boondoggle 1 is that apparently in the Civil War, tons of Medals of Honor, being the only award the military had at the time, were handed out for some pretty suspect reasons. Many had been promised basically as a recruitment bonus. Over 500 were awarded to a unit that had already gone home for a mission they didn't do, and Buffalo Bill wasn't even in the military at the time he did the thing that got him the medal. Boondoggle number 2 was that Buffalo Bill, for better or worse an American icon, had his Medal of Honor stripped from him the week that he died. Battlefield surgeon Dr. Mary Edwards Walker, who got her recommendation from Sherman himself and spent 4 months of the war in a Confederate POW camp, was one of 9 civilian surgeons to be awarded the medal, and the only one to have it revoked. She was also the only woman to have ever, even to this day, been awarded the Medal of Honor. Just to not leave that story hanging, she refused to return it to Congress and wore it proudly until she died in 1919.
That's funny.
At the age of 86. Congress did eventually reinstate her award in 1977. However, amidst the bureaucracy and sexism, a phrase was born. Miller, Oscar F., Major 361st Infantry, is awarded the Medal of Honor for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity above and beyond the call of duty. And 85 years later, we've got a video game franchise.
85.
Since its inception in 2003, the Call of Duty first-person military shooter brand has produced 21 mainline titles and 22 spin-offs. Originating as a cinematic shooter in response to Electronic Arts' Medal of Honor games, which were themselves soft adaptations and expansions of the film Saving Private Ryan under the supervision of Steven Spielberg, the games are known for their giant set-piece levels, heavily scripted sequences, extensive voice cast, cutting-edge visuals, and just all-around high production value. Quickly though, let's introduce our corporate cast of characters.
Ooh.
The franchise as a whole is published by Activision, now Microsoft Activision Blizzard King. The original game was developed by Infinity Ward, but after the success of the first game, Activision brought in a second studio, Treyarch, to begin working on a third game while Infinity Ward worked on the second. The idea being that the sequel would drop in 2005, and then Activision would already have a sequel to that game ready to go for 2006.
Which churn them out.
Infinity Ward 2 years to make the game after that, and then the game of Leapfrog would continue. Eventually, they would need to bring in 2 more studios, Sledgehammer and Raven, to wrangle the ever-ballooning scope, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. This plan for a yearly release paid off huge when the 4th game, subtitled Modern Warfare, smashed sales records and catapulted Call of Duty from being a merely successful franchise into being the video game franchise, a cultural shorthand for the idea of a video game. Indeed, Call of Duty was pushing the leading edge of production value so hard that the franchise became the definition of AAA video games. In the same way your grandmother could describe all video game consoles as a Nintendo, AAA video games could be simply a Call of Duty. Ghosts, released in 2013, is the 10th mainline title in the series, the 6th made by developers Infinity Ward. The game follows 2 brothers, Logan and Hesh Walker, as they shoot their way through a series of nonsense levels strung together by a jingoistic plot rooted deeply in American insecurity that was bubbling up as the global war on terror solidly entered its 2nd decade. It is the near future. The, quote, great energy-producing deserts in the Middle East have been destroyed by war, cutting off much of America's energy, leading to a collapse and decline. In the power vacuum that followed, South America has been united or conquered under the banner of the Federation of the Americas, often simply referred to as the Fed. The game opens as 2 astronauts perform maintenance on the control station for the orbital weapon Odin, a kinetic bombardment system utilizing tungsten rods dropped from space, an impractical but popular pop culture weapon often shorthanded as rods from God. As they are performing the finishing checks on this decidedly military superweapon, the station is attacked and hijacked by Fed forces who gain entry by posing as an American supply shuttle. The Fed successfully target and bomb a large swath of Southern California, Texas, and Florida before the temporary prologue protagonist, or prologonist, destabilizes its orbit and burns up in the atmosphere. That sounds grammatically incorrect, so just to be clear, both the prologonist and Odin burn up in the atmosphere. Parallel to this, Elias Walker tells his sons the origin story of a fabled special ops team
Good night, Graham.
called
Thanks for stopping in, man.
It was a different time.
This is the one FPS campaign you never played any of? Because the space section looks so cool. I've ever played any of. Yeah.
Their objective, to force the enemy back from a civilian hospital and keep its occupants alive.
In this other backstory, in another time, another war, 60 men from a joint special ops team were tasked with guarding a hospital, and they get obliterated over the course of a couple nights. 60 become 15, and eventually these remaining 15, they evacuate the hospital and send one of their own as an escort. Then the remaining 14 cover themselves in blood and sand and hide under the bodies to ambush the enemy fighters. The prose in this story is florid, reverential, bordering on spiritual ecstasy. They are baptized with blood and anointed by the sand, then massacre the opposition with hit-and-run tactics that are so sick and badass that the one remaining enemy fighter goes crazy.
He expressed warnings to others of a force so menacing and unbeatable, it could only be described as supernatural.
Supernatural.
He called them ghosts.
He called them ghosts.
God damn it, it's even got the ellipsis right there in the subtitles. I feel like this is what folding ideas sounds like to people who don't like folding ideas. This literal campfire story is then interrupted by the rods from God falling on San Diego as the Fed uses Odin to obliterate basically everything south of Santa Monica. The body of the game takes place 10 years later, long after the war with the Fed has come to a stalemate. It's not really relevant to anything, and you need to dig into the codex entries to sort it out, but basically the US military doesn't have branches anymore. It's all just one big blob, which is really just the underlying justification for the main characters, Logan and Hesh, to run around doing whatever the designers thought.
I was gonna say,
After
yeah,
a tutorial
we really
mission
do.
and some walk and talk.
Call of
the
Duty
boys
games really
sent
are
out
just
to
about
scout
running
some
around
Fed
doing
salvage
whatever.
operation back in San Diego, their first big mission beyond the massive border wall the US has built. They are assisted on their missions by the game's spectacle feature, Riley, a trained German Shepherd, and his doggy Cam sneak attack. Despite the lengthy geopolitical setup and helldump of backstory, the game's lore is extremely front-loaded, and the meat of the game revolves around a man named Rourke, a ghost and Dad's former commanding officer. Oh, spoiler, Dad's a ghost, like that's why he knows all their backstory and stuff, but not like a cool ghost. He's an assassin, special ops, badass. It's treated as a twist. It's treated as a twist. They play it like it's a real twist that you didn't see coming.
But your father's not there anymore. Dad.
That's so lame. That's so lame.
So Rourke, along with your dad, was one of the original 14 ghosts who were anointed with sand after defending the hospital, and his psych profile is basically that he's Rambo, but like Rambo 3 or Rambo 4 Rambo, not really First Blood Rambo. Rourke went missing in Caracas 2 years before the Odin incident and was presumed dead. When the Fed threatened all of South America and ordered all US-born residents killed or imprisoned, the US preemptively invaded Venezuela and sent the Ghost to assassinate Fed leadership in a mission that culminates in Federation leader General Almagro ordering a missile strike on a massive dam overlooking the city. Now, this self-destructive action here, we're going to have to set aside the fact that America's enemies are so insane they'll nuke themselves was already a recurring plot beat in the franchise by this point, so we can instead focus on the silliness of the scenario. If Western media gets accused of playing fast and loose with its audience's lack of knowledge of the rest of the world, few other instances will really compete with this game, stashing 1 billion gallons of water a kilometer in the air above the Caribbean Sea. So the Ghosts do successfully assassinate General Almagro. You play as your dad, Elias, for this mission and shoot him yourself, but the helicopter crashes, Rourke falls into the water, and after weeks of searching for his body, the Ghosts are pulled from Caracas and Rourke is declared MIA. Since he's the antagonist, he obviously survived, and now he holds a grudge against the Ghosts for a combination of not rescuing him and not having the decency to die trying to rescue him. He was instead captured by the Fed and tortured in a jungle pit where they used all the old standards: isolation, temperature extremes, sleep deprivation, stress positions, keeping him wet, presumably direct physical and verbal abuse, and they feed him psychoactive poisons, implicitly ayahuasca. This process, stylized for the cinematic, blows all of the white off of him as black alien crystals burst out of his skin.
God, dude.
That's interesting iconography. That might come up later.
Rourke was
It's so fucking. It's so heavy-handed.
against us.
He becomes the main villain of the entire game, and he's Bane, the Batman villain, specifically the Bane from The Dark Knight Rises, a 2 steps ahead criminal mastermind with seemingly limitless resources to pour into a plan that uses lofty geopolitical ambitions as a smokescreen for a personal grudge against a couple specific dudes. There's a series of Rourke-focused missions, including backstory, then an infiltration mission to find where he's hiding, an assault on the hideout, capturing Rourke, then getting hijacked by Rourke's people and dumped in the jungle, after which the game switches to hardcore filler mode. There's a winter science facility level in Chile, then an oil rig level in Antarctica, then an underwater level in the Atlantic, then a factory level in Brazil, somewhere north of Rio. After blowing up the factory, the team heads to a safe house in the remains of Las Vegas to hang out, where they get ambushed and captured by Rourke again.
You are right, Elias. I'm not a ghost. I'm the man that hunts them and sends them back to the other side.
Dad, I'm a ghost.
There's a sinking
Dad,
aircraft
you're a
carrier,
ghost.
then a tank mission, and a second space mission, and then finally you fight Rourke on a train. The thing you learn in all of that faffing about, maybe a nugget per mission, is that the Fed has cloned Odin. That wreckage way back in the San Diego level where Doggy Cam was a mechanic, that was Odin, and I guess that information isn't exactly hidden, but it's really downplayed.
This is definitely the place. Stoker 6, we got something here. Looks like it's digging through some wreckage. What do you mean? What kind of wreckage? Not sure. It's guarded, but we're gonna push through.
It's actually kind of amazing how good a job the game does of making this theoretically important discovery feel utterly beneath notice. The crashed satellite looks unremarkable in the muddy brown gloom that pervades the game, and all leading lines direct the player away from it. You get a glimpse at the top of the hill, but the shape of the hill and the people shooting at you from down below pull your attention downwards and then to the left. When you exit the cave, the shooting is again coming from the left, pulling your view away from the crash site. Even when you exit the building and traverse a catwalk that goes right next to the satellite, the game makes sure there's people shooting at you off to the left, pulling your attention away from the wreckage. In glimpses and fragments, this crashed satellite just looks like indistinct industrial wreckage, a refinery or a silo of some kind, not a grounded weapon of mass destruction that's the reason everyone's in this mess in the first place. The only way to really appreciate that it's the wreckage of Odin is to sit around and explore, but this is a game that very much does not want you to explore. Cinematic shooters are 90% high-gloss hallways. That's kind of the core pitch. You trade freedom to wander for extremely intricate scripted sequences and spectacle. Wandering off is almost always tightly constrained. A door that you aren't explicitly directed to open will almost never open. A side hallway that isn't part of a shooting arena will almost always dead end quickly with nothing to see. In the case of the Odin wreckage, poking around is explicitly punished by falling into radioactive kill zones, sending you back to the previous checkpoint. Curiosity in the genre is structurally discouraged. So nominally, Logan and Hesh were sent to San Diego to figure out what the Fed is rooting around looking for, but when they find it, they just go, I don't know.
Are you eating a
some
burger,
big
Alaskan? What kind of
busted
burger?
thing. Looks expensive. And are then immediately
I'd go for a
derailed by
burger.
Rourke capturing a ghost named Ajax.
Go for a
at
chicken
which point
sando.
the actual
Maybe I'll
mission
get a
is
chicken
discarded
sandwich.
in lieu of meeting up with Ghost American Keegan
gonna
and
get a
heading
chicken
off to rescue
sandwich.
Ajax from the ruins of Dodger Stadium. So the fact that the Federation is rooting around in the wreckage of Odin is uncovered in Chapter 3 and then deemed so unremarkable that aside from a stray mention in Chapter 9, it isn't really relevant again until Chapter 13 when the team stumbles into a factory loading up Federation Odin.
A burger
clones,
with chili and
a
cheese?
project
Oh,
called
that
Loki,
sounds so good.
named after the shape-shifting infiltrator that ends the world. Now, here's the very important thing to remember about Loki. It is said out loud to call your attention to this. The important thing to note about the clone of the orbital penetrating rod weapon of mass destruction built by the South Americans is that theirs is smaller. It's less girthy, it's not quite as potent, but it is significantly more numerous.
Yeah, these are smaller, but there's a lot more of them.
There might be some
There's a lot
symbolism in
more
there.
of them.
I don't know. There's another space
Yeah.
mission where Americans hijack Loki and start raining hell down on South America. You drive a tank, you fight Rourke on a train. You eventually shoot him and your brother, and all of the windows crack, like blow open, he drowns, and you and your brother sit on a beach watching the world burn as the credits start to roll before the inevitable and tragic sequel bait when an apparently immortal Rourke kidnaps Logan, that's you, and drags him off with a post-credits clip implying that Logan is being subjected to the same jungle drug torture brainwashing as Rourke was. So, Ghosts falls apart
What the
in
fuck?
basically every way. Like, if we're talking about a bad game, what are the ways in which a game can be bad? They can be just technically bad, unstable as software that doesn't launch right, crashes frequently, or breaks at the programming level. That's one type of bad. It can be just not particularly fun to push the buttons, like the responsiveness of it, or the feedback that you get, or the rewards that you get, the way that it respects or disrespects your time. Or it could be offensive on some narrative level. The story is full of holes, it isn't told in a way that carries the player through, character motivations are vague or thin, actions and consequences don't really seem to line up, and maybe it espouses some morally reprehensible worldview. Ghosts is all of these. So the long story short behind all this is twofold. One is simply that games of this scope take, as a rule of thumb, about 3 years to make, and Activision had their studios cranking them out in barely 2. While Ghosts was not noted for its development crunch, this is because it was still so ubiquitous and normalized across the AAA industry in the early teens that it was deemed unremarkable. A contemporary Guardian article about the development
It
of
was
Ghosts
very
opens by
bland.
talking about crunch in an extremely matter-of-fact way, like how you would say that being a sailor involves the risk of getting wet. The second is that around the release of Modern Warfare 2, Infinity Ward went through a major upheaval. Studio co-founders Vince Zampella and Jason West had wanted to sever Modern Warfare from the Call of Duty brand, getting Infinity Ward a bigger slice of the record-breaking pie. When Activision caught wind of this, all hell broke loose. The two were fired, then they sued Activision for basically manufacturing cause for their dismissal, then Activision countersued, calling them insubordinate and self-serving schemers who attempted to hijack Activision's assets for their own personal gain. This
Damn.
got very messy. It came out that Activision had a thing called Project Icebreaker that West and Zampella alleged was a scheme to oust them from Infinity Ward, while Activision insisted in their defense that Icebreaker was merely a scheme to spy on employee emails in order to improve the relationship with the studio. In the fallout, almost 4 dozen devs departed Infinity Ward in solidarity, leaving a big old hole in Infinity Ward's dev team. While Modern Warfare 3 would ultimately come out on time, it was only because Activision brought in Raven and Sledgehammer to help finish the game. Afterwards, it was decided that the 2-year leapfrog cycle just wasn't enough time, and thus the third game out from that point would be developed by Sledgehammer, starting a 3-studio rotation. All this required was for the
I
folks
see.
at Sledgehammer to be brought
That's why
fully up to
Sledgehammer
speed,
joined.
not just finishing assets for a game already in progress, but working from scratch with the new engine and all the various intricacies of making a Call of Duty. This added workload on the remaining Infinity Ward staff, creating a massive technical debt that would ultimately be paid by Ghosts. None of the problems that plague Ghosts are unique to it, rather Ghosts is unique for suffering from every single problem that plagues AAA video game production. I have taken the liberty, for the sake of pacing and shaking things up a bit, of organizing all that into a numbered list.
Nice. Development.
The focus in development was on getting the game ready for the launch of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which left the PC version in a pretty bad state, with numerous development problems leading to frequent crashes to desktop, broken script triggers, and numerous soft locks. They fixed a lot of this over the years. It is a lot more stable these days if you play it on a modern machine, but it's still really easy to soft lock various levels because Call of Duty games are extremely complicated on a scripting level. If, in Chapter 2, you exit the tunnel into the LA River and immediately try and shoot down the helicopter, you can actually sort of shoot it down, but since it's supposed to come back later and you've already tripped the flag saying it's destroyed, it just never comes back for when you're actually supposed to shoot it down and the level soft locks. I hear more literal birds than I hear helicopters. Alright, well, only one option.
Uh-oh. No! I blew up the dog! That's gameplay.
The experience of the game, the gameplay itself, is sluggish. Even sprinting feels more like a waddle. There's multiple vehicle segments that just do not function the way that you'd expect them to. The helicopter fights in particular have a very bizarre control scheme that I still do not fully understand. Lateral movement works more or less like you'd expect, even if it feels terrible, but altitude control is semi-automated within a very shallow layer. It's very awkward if you expect the helicopter to control like a helicopter.
Gray, brown, green?
It's just kind of ugly. Even at the time, Call of Duty games were remarked on for being dominated by shades of brown, green, brown, green, gray, brown, and gray. Online comic strips like VG Cats were already mocking this trend in 2007, and yet 7 years later, Ghosts somehow takes that and makes it even worse. The brown-gray shooter has effectively become an archetype, and Call of Duty Ghosts is its avatar. The game's average color is taupe. This actually brings us to our next point, which we'll hand off to Folding Ideas' Mexican office.
An Oscar winner.
A major marketing point was the hiring of Oscar-winning screenwriter Stephen Gaghan to pen the script. Now, Gaghan won an Oscar for Traffic, a movie with its own, let's say, interesting relationship with Latin America. Traffic can be almost single-handedly credited with convincing audiences that Mexico looks like piss, which in turn became the visual language of hot places that are also dangerous, which became the visual language of war writ large, which is in part why Call of Duty Ghosts looks the way it does. In all fairness to Gaghan, I just happen to have a copy of the published shooting script, and it doesn't say anywhere, Mexico, a land the color of piss, everything is a shade of piss, even the sky. So that one's more on Soderbergh, or, well, Peter Andrews, who's just Steven Soderbergh with a Carhartt beanie and a Leica. Gaghan's pedigree as a writer is honestly, like most writers, a little mixed. He wrote Traffic and Syriana, but he also wrote Abandoned and The Alamo, and not relevant to Ghosts, but still funny, he would eventually write and direct the 2020 film Doolittle starring Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, good heavens!
The writing of a video game is complicated, more so for a game like Call of Duty than most, but there are elements that we can pretty safely put in Gaghan's
Chili's
lap,
gonna make you get
like
the fucking
mission
shits.
briefings
I
with
get that
their
one, Alaska.
absolutely tortured stoic prose.
For real.
The sand stuck to their skin like a shroud, changing them, anointing them.
This is just kind of a whirlpool of hell. The performances aren't saving the script, but the script isn't giving the performers material worth saving.
That's Call of Duty dialogue for you, though.
You were one of them. Try the ghost.
Try E-Ghost. Try E-Ghost.
The bulk of the story is very stupid and is plagued with obvious backfills that are emergent from the way that the game is made. The cinematic shooter is so reliant on massive set-piece events that they have become the cart leading the horse. This aspect is basically an open secret of how the game and an embarrassing number of modern blockbusters are made, but it is rarely as obvious as it is with Ghosts. Cool moments.
Me telling my friends what pepper
first,
they should buy?
production
Yeah.
was started, and artists and coders and scripters were put to work building a sinking aircraft carrier years before a writer would be sent in to figure out why an aircraft carrier is sinking. After all, enemy gunships and boats just move around on predefined paths. The exact model of helicopter, the flags being flown, or the uniforms on soldiers can all be swapped later. For a big part of the process, they're just floating cubes and other placeholders anyway. Even the dialogue and character interactions have the hallmarks of being as unintrusive and generic as possible. Characters are mostly an ephemeral presence barking immediate orders into your ears.
Sync on Riley. Move to the next floor.
The door's down! Flash now!
Keep an eye on your depth gauge.
Position clear!
Lay your charges!
Logan, pick up Riley!
The why of what you're doing simply needs to be kept to a minimum presence so it can slot in easily at a later time. This is why every mission has, on average, one moment that actually matters. The character learns or accomplishes one thing, frequently by watching a video or reading a document, and the significance of that thing is more often than not shuffled into the interstitial monologues that serve as loading screens. You're sent to blow up an
Yeah.
oil derrick off the coast of Antarctica in a bluff to lure away the Fed's navy, but that doesn't make any sense. Not as a plan and not as the motivation driving you through the mission. It's simply the results that you're told afterwards, and then later that diverted navy just shows up and sinks the US's last remaining aircraft carrier anyway.
Yeah,
The crash
anyway.
in Chapter 2 is so conspicuously unremarked upon that it's entirely possible that it wasn't even decided what rubble the Fed soldiers would be searching through at the time the mission was started. Like, not to get repetitive here, but this is the full exchange.
This is definitely the place. Stoker 6, we got something here. Looks like they're digging through some wreckage. What do you mean? What kind of wreckage? Not sure. It's guarded, but we're gonna push through.
You don't interact
That's
with it. It's
it.
surrounded by killer radiation, so you can't try and do anything with it. Merrick and Keegan don't ask about it, and despite the fact that you were sent out explicitly to figure out what the Fed were doing in San Diego, this information is seemingly never relayed. The thought that the Fed is trying to salvage Odin in order to make their own isn't floated as a possibility, even as the characters are watching the Fed launch mystery ballistic missiles that NORAD loses track of after launch.
NORAD was able to say conclusively, the missile launched in the Yucatan did not hit the USA.
There isn't even a beat where a character
Nice.
puts two and two together the moment that they walk into the room and see Loki being loaded up. Even the bit with Loki is like, okay, they walk into the room, they see something, there's a bunch of radio chatter about it, and then they move on. This level could be 95% completed without the artists even knowing what's going to go in that slot. These events, these thoughts, are all siloed from one another, interacting only through the narrow tunnels between missions. There is simply zero internal cohesion to the story. It's so obviously and shoddily a series of set pieces that were hastily strung together. It's actually difficult to keep them in order in the memory simply because there's so little logical connection between them. In the game, you infiltrate the lab to get files on the missile program, blow up the oil derrick to lure away the Navy, then sink the last destroyer guarding Brazil so you can sabotage the factory. But we could just as easily make it that during the factory sabotage mission, we uncover Loki. Then we blow up the destroyers so we can get access to the oil derrick, which as a 1-2 punch will lure the Navy in the Pacific towards the Atlantic so we can infiltrate the lab and steal the access codes needed to subvert Loki. All it would need to replace is a few lines of dialogue and the interstitial monologues. Other missions are less egregious, but never properly escape this artifact of their creation. Missions are in the order that makes a reasonable amount of narrative sense while breaking up the mechanics.
The psychology of something like this is also
Many of
fascinating.
these set pieces are extremely obvious in their influences. Again, it's basically
A box of golden raisins and currants to snack on. I'm very jealous, which is why I bought a chicken sandwich just now.
You could play that, but I don't know. It just feels so hack when the inspiration is so obvious. Rourke allows himself to be captured for no particular reason except that it allows the game to recreate the opening of The Dark Knight Rises. One level is lifted in pretty equal measure from The Dark Knight and Transformers Dark of the Moon.
A simulation of a
The
game.
game doesn't really have mechanics, it has the simulation of mechanics. In a typical game, hell, let's get saucy and say, in a real game, the player is given a suite of interactions that they can
Where'd I order
perform,
from?
and it is then given
Dave's.
to the player the freedom to figure out how to best string together these interactions.
It's the only place
to
that's open
accomplish
right
their
now.
Goals. Ghosts instead gives you a gun and a context prompt. Things like night vision goggles, thermal optics, the dog Riley, a blinding strobe light, a motion tracker, and gas grenades aren't tools that you are given, tutorialized on, and then expected to deploy at your discretion. They are gimmicks that pop up at predetermined moments and persist in your toolkit for only as long as deemed necessary.
Logan, sync up with Riley. Here we go.
Now, there are a lot of compromises that are made in the service of the cinematic in cinematic shooter. The player is ultimately on rather tight rails with little freedom in how they approach the world. This is not inherently bad. Roller coasters
No,
are
yeah.
literally on rails, and roller coasters are really, really fun. And at a certain level of abstraction, this is true about basically
How spicy do I go?
every
I go
game
mild.
within your
I can't
story.
handle any
Using
spice.
Doom 2016 as an example, while the player can
I am not a
backtrack
spice
through
lord.
large areas of the game for a substantial chunk of the playtime, this is ultimately little more than the freedom to hunt for collectibles, as the actual bang bang pew pew rip and tear gameplay remains constrained to a predetermined chute you must climb into if you want to rip cacodemon eyeballs out. The argument in favor of Rails is that they are needed to provide a kind of tightly crafted experience that a freer sort of sandbox environment just can't deliver. But with that comes an unspoken contract, that I, as a player, am ceding an amount of control in exchange for something impactful, and the expectations that the Rails will be reasonably well disguised. I shouldn't feel the Rails, because the path forward should simply be the one that I most want to go down. This way for cacodemons and their eyeballs. Call of Duty Ghosts is littered with so many friction points. The poorly laid out levels, the obnoxious characters,
Still get the spicy
the
stuff
incoherent
sometimes though, just
story,
because I do
the
find it
illusion,
tasty, but I just
the
can't handle it and end up
buy-in
crying a
just
mess.
falls
Yeah,
apart.
same, Jack.
You begin to notice that you're
It
thrust
affects
into
me. I start
situations where
crying, and then
tools
I
you were
have to
given
cry
earlier
later
would
when
be
I
useful,
evacuate
but you
it,
don't have
and
them
it's
because
just
they weren't actually
spicy
tools in
stuff
the
tastes so
first
good
place.
though.
They were single scene gimmicks. There is a veneer of realism here in the sense that your commandos aren't going to be showing up with the same ever-ballooning kit of toys to every single mission, but that realism shreds like tissue paper when a very useful tool like the strobe light is only functional within a single specific room. The fake commitment to realism results in frankly boring gunplay. While you will occasionally stumble across a shotgun or machine gun, by and large you will spend the campaign cycling through a series of indistinct assault rifles. Step after boring step of the game is saturated with barked orders from your commanding officers who perpetually sound pissed off that they even need to deal with you, giving the distinct impression that the game not only feels obliged to hold your hand, but resents doing it too.
You can stick with
Yeah.
us, but you do what I say. When
Call
I
of Duty
say.
is a series that
Put all in
loads
a
the
package,
notion that you're
Ghosts
playing
is a great
it.
simulation
It's
of
very
what an
funny.
escort quest must feel like from the perspective of the NPC. Help, I'm trapped in a numbered list factory. The bosses stole my passport. If you're reading this, tell my wife I'm still alive. Please send rescue.
Ghosts are cringe.
Ghosts are cringe. The amount of worshipful religious prose that is poured out talking about the ghosts is weird and embarrassing, especially given that the source of most of that is Elias talking about himself.
And this really happened. So the legend goes.
But it really reaches the next level after Elias is killed. In the story, the ghosts are a quasi-official interdepartmental unit consisting entirely of 14 people. There were 15 soldiers left at the hospital, one of them was sent to escort evacuees, 14 stayed behind to be anointed by sand. That event, in and of itself, is within the lifetime of all of the game's characters. Merrick, Rourke, Elias, Ajax, and Keegan were all there. They are first-generation ghosts. Logan and Hesh are implied to be the first initiated ghosts ever. From the events of the game, the ghosts are depicted as both quite new, very exclusive, and badass to the point that prior to Rourke killing Ajax, the unit has suffered 0 confirmed casualties. So, with all of this framing, it's all just
Animator.
so deeply cringe when Hesh spends a loading screen detailing all the ghost funerary rites and customs like they're a deeply rooted tradition with generations of practice.
In the event a ghost is killed, his remains are placed face down, with his head pointed in the direction of his home, his weapon next to him. We do it this way, so that when our fallen are taken to the other side, they can watch over us and keep an eye on our enemy.
God, that is cringe.
Let's talk about the dog. Ghosts had 2 big elements that became the backbone of the marketing campaign for the game. The lesser of these is the aforementioned hiring of Oscar-winning screenwriter Stephen Gaghan to pen the script. The big one was Riley the dog.
This is someone you care about. This is a squad member. He does everything from sniffing out explosives to protecting the team.
Riley is only mechanically available to the player in 2 chapters. He's less like a squad member and more like a specialty grenade that you have access to for 3 specific gunfights. He's barely in the game. There's a whole thing in chapter 14, that's the one where your dad dies, and Riley kind of appears out of nowhere and then gets shot, and you need to carry him through the rest of the level. After that, they show him at the start of the aircraft carrier mission, the one where the carrier sinks, but since there's a 3 days later fade in between, Riley is just sort of quietly ushered out of existence in the uncertainty of that transition.
Okay, sweet.
The political undercurrents of the story are repulsive and reflect the madness of an America trapped in a quagmire of its own making and desperate for a new villain. Diegetically, America is on the back foot, is in decline following the collapse of the, quote, energy-producing deserts, and is embroiled in a defensive war against a superior foe. At least, that's what we're told. Since so much of the story is really about Rourke's personal grudge, the geopolitics sink into the distant background. America being in some nebulous decline is simply the prerequisite to justify the conflict, to make it a fair fight. America built an orbital weapon of mass destruction when they were in decline, so...
Am I sleeping on the floor or on my bed? I'm sleeping on my bed.
So let's actually look at how Rourke fits into all of this thematically. We have this soup of action set pieces strung together by a plot written around them. What emerges from that soup? The theme that comes through, loud and clear, is that Rourke gives the Fed their potency. The plan to hijack Odin is cooked up by Rourke. The attack on Santa Monica is Rourke, and Loki is Rourke's doing. All the various filler tasks ultimately revolve around getting ahead of Rourke. Rourke is an attempt at de-racializing an inherently racialized conflict. You simply cannot have a conflict between the United States and Venezuela without invoking the specter of U.S. interventionism in South America.
What do you mean by political? That doesn't mean anything, right? The question, is this a political game, doesn't actually mean anything, because it's what does the word political mean to you?
Wow, gross.
Touch topics that bear a resemblance to the geopolitics of the world we live in today? Hell yeah, because this is that is the subject matter of Modern Warfare.
Despite the developers' insistence that their games are simply good, sugary fun that happens to resemble something in the shape of geopolitics, kind of like a candy cigarette, they do remain aware of the implications of the things they make, and in the early teens were visibly sensitive to the pushback. They received criticism for how the Arab factions in Call of Duty 4 were depicted.
A fold-out futon or a normal mattress? Fold-out futon,
So Modern
Jack.
Warfare 2 instead revolves around
it's a futon, but it's a mattress. It's a futon mattress.
General. And then in Modern Warfare 3, it was revealed that the nuke had actually been the machinations not of al-Assad, but of that game's antagonist, Vladimir Makarov. Rourke is in one sense a safe antagonist. It makes the game about Americans fighting Americans, white people fighting a white person whose most vocal motivation is simple revenge. However, in the same way that the levels are generic vessels for MacGuffins to be placed into at a later date, the natural endpoint of a production pipeline that
Kinda, Seal. I mean, that's every
Rourke
Call of Duty
is
game,
the
though.
endpoint of corporate cowardice. There is a potentially insightful conclusion down the path of the greatest threat to America is America itself. But this is not that. The message here isn't civil. It's not suggesting that America has invested so much in outward strength that it has become internally brittle, that the contradictions of American existence threaten the concept of America itself. The vulnerability isn't American hubris. The vulnerability is American subversion. The game plays to the sensibilities of an America in tension with the war on terror, the war in Iraq, and the war in Afghanistan. As these wars were solidly entering their second decade, the narrative of a righteous war, always suspect in the first place, was decidedly faltering. America's presence was clearly not a stabilizing force, and they had become an intractable quagmire. So in Ghosts, the Middle East is simply written out of the picture in passive voice, the destruction of the oil-producing deserts. No one's fault, just a thing that happened. The Fed, which is to say South America, is described as invasive, creeping, consuming, an inexorable force moving northwards to take over America for no reason but conquest. In the cutscenes, they are an organic, oily mass crawling across the map and staining it. They are a perverting force, a subverting enemy that will invade American space, take America's things, and turn them against America. The enemy is both impossibly strong and utterly impotent. Their power is not strength in their own right, but their ability to pervert. Rourke does not become disillusioned with America. That's not why he switches sides. While he definitely harbors a grudge against specific individuals, his heel turn is fully explained as brainwashing. He is tortured and drugged and converted into their ghost. And you know, there's that imagery. As the Federation torturers go to work on his soul, the whiteness is literally blasted off him, and black crystals rupture out of his body.
Whiteness is blasted off
operative. In an attempt at telling an underdog story, Ghost creates a world where American paranoia is fully justified, where American orbital weapons are good and right, but Federation orbital weapons are an abomination, and also decidedly less potent, but more numerous. It is a world where the Fed is wrong to see America as an existential threat and behave accordingly, but it is simply pragmatic for America to assassinate Federation leadership. The hordes are coming, they're sending their murderers, their drug dealers, and their rapists to corrupt America. The wall is simply a necessity.
Ooh, every Call of Duty game is pro-state propaganda. That's why the U.S. military likes it. Yeah, Seal. Yep.
I don't think much, if any of this, is intentional. Rather, it is my belief that Call of Duty Ghosts is a thoughtless product. These are the consequences of a bad, albeit Oscar-winning writer simply trying to paint a broad-stroke scene to efficiently communicate a stupid plot to an inattentive audience after he was handed a pile of half-built set pieces and a vague corporate mandate for the overall shape and tone. But in that thoughtlessness, in the reliance on stereotype and trope, Ghost tapped into an anxiety of the moment it was created in, a desperate need for America to be righteous and justified, for its paranoia to be a foresight of something real. Given that we are now living in the consequences of that paranoia, the odious results of that anxiety, I find Call of Duty Ghosts repulsive. The worst game I have ever played.
It's pretty sickening.
Wow, that sure was an episode, wasn't it? And to think, he didn't even get around to mentioning the fish AI, the role of NORAD as the US military's head command, seemingly implying that Canada has been annexed, the controversy of the developers reusing motion capture data from Modern Warfare 2, the reality of American energy production, or the fact that Eminem's song Survival was released as a pre-order bonus. Well, anyway, it's a long way back to Canada from here in Mexico, where I most certainly am, because I am in Mexico and most definitely not in southern Alberta, so I'm gonna get right on moseying. Until next time, keep your tangos frosty and your LZ cleared.
Thank you, Dan. God, dude, his videos are so fucking good, man. They're so good. The way he succinctly puts, like, I love his, like, editing style where he's just like, here's the idea I'm talking about, and here's the conclusion that I have. Now let me write, like, a fucking, like, 600-page, like, scathing review about why that's the case. It's so Adorno-coded. It's like picking, it's like reading through Dialect of Enlightenment again, where it's just like, well, here's why this is, you know, here's the idea. All right, now I'm gonna spend the next 3 chapters explaining why that is. And it's so fucking good. It's so tasty. Such a juicy writing style. But more importantly, the way he succinctly puts, a lot of the way he, like, delves into, like, how a production is, like, in relationship to like a moment is also really good. Just Call of Duty as just like a representation of the anxiety of the moments of the Imperial Core is that's it, man. That's it. Yeah. You're considering suing the US military for copyright infringement? They have no right to claim the Navy contains SEALs when it has none? Now, this is true. This is true, Seal. I agree. He's the go to video essays. I love his video essays so much. But alright, I'm gonna end the stream here. I hope everybody had a good time tonight. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan Olson. You the best. Be sure to go follow Dan Olson on YouTube, and he streams on Twitch sometimes. I hope everybody has a good rest of your night. I'll see everybody for the rest of this week. I'm going to go and remember to upload my schedule. I'm gonna eat a chicken sandwich, and then I'm gonna move some stuff downstairs before I hit the hay for my Friday tomorrow. Alright, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Johnny. The claims that COD can even be apolitical as a product and vessel for propaganda of US defaultism and imperialism being normalized if it isn't American in origin. Yeah. Yeah, Seal. Absolutely. I completely get that. It's just, this is just what it looks like to be in the Imperial core. America is not unique in its propaganda arm for being the center of the, for being the end of the production chain of capital. We are like the third Rome, you know, England being the second Rome, and all that good stuff. But yeah. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Bye-bye, Johnny.